Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to the Mayo Media Network. My name's Griffin Swanson, and today I'm going to be breaking down the Thursday night football game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. One of the better Thursday night football games we've had all year long, and if it gets postponed due to COVID, I say we riot. Now, the good news is, as I record this here on Wednesday, there are no signs to this game being postponed, but COVID is running through the NFL and damn near every sport right now, so definitely something to keep an eye on. But in the meantime, we're going to go over some prize picks here that I like for this Thursday night game, and then dive into my spreadsheet breaking down that DraftKings Showdown slate. But before we do all of that, if you could like this video here and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. The Mayo Media Network will have NFL content coming out throughout the remainder of the regular season, and then we'll have content out for the NFL playoffs as well, so make sure you don't miss out on any of that. And for you podcast people, you can always head over to the Apple Pods or Spotify and find the content there. If you're going to be over there, leave a 5-star review. With all that said, let's go ahead and dive into this Thursday night game here, kicking it off with a couple of prize picks that I like. All right, so I'm over on the PrizePicks.com website here now, and I'm going to kick things off with this. If you have not signed up for PrizePicks yet and are interested in doing so, we have two different promotions that we're currently running right now. The first is the promo code MMN, which stands for Mayo Media Network. If you use that promo code, you can get up to a $100 match deposit upon signing up. The other promo code is MMN NFL, so MMN, Mayo Media Network, plus NFL, and if Patrick Mahomes throws for just one passing yard in this game, you'll get $25 right away. So here's how to approach it. If you want to deposit anything less than $25 upon sign up, then take advantage of the promo code MMN NFL. Mahomes throws for 1 yard in this game. Boom, you win $25 right off the bat. But if you want to deposit more than $25, then you're best off to take the promo code MMN, and you can get up to a $100 match deposit. Either way, if you plan on signing up, take advantage of at least one of those. And to tailor off of that, just want to mention as well, if you're going to be using the promo code MMN NFL, where Mahomes has to just throw for one passing yard in this game, you win $25. You will need to play here on Thursday night in order for that promo code to register. So keep that in mind if you're going to be using the promo code MMN, where you can get up to a $100 match deposit. You don't have to play here on Thursday. You can use that promo code whenever you want. With all that said, I got two picks here for this Thursday night game, and the first pick that I like is on the Chiefs side of things. I like the over on Travis Kelce at 60.5 receiving yards. Kelce's hit the over at that number in 8 of 13 games this year and is averaging 67 receiving yards per game on the season. And the Chargers haven't necessarily been very good at stopping opposing tight ends this year, allowing the 6th most fantasy points per game. They're also allowing 57 receiving yards per game to opposing tight ends on average. And Kelce is not your average tight end. He's the top tight end in the NFL, in my opinion, certainly top 3. So I think that number is just a bit too low. Looking at a couple of projection sites here as well, and actually both of them have him right at 71 yards. 10 yards above his current number on PrizePicks. And then the pick that I like here on the Chargers side of things was a little more difficult to find, but ultimately ended up with a rushing prop. I'm going to take the over on Justin Herbert at 13.5. He's actually hit the over at this number in 5 of his past 6 games. He's certainly got the legs and speed to really hit the over on one single play, and was actually looking through some books earlier, and most bookies got him at 16.5, so you're getting him at a 3-yard discount here on PrizePicks. Also looking at a couple of projection sites, both have him at 20 yards, so 7 yards above his current number on PrizePicks. I'm not necessarily in love with this play, admittedly, but it was the best pick in my opinion on the Chargers side of things, and like I said, he has hit the over at this number in 5 of his past 6 games. So to recap here, I'm going to take the over on Travis Kelce at 60.5 receiving yards, going to take the over on Justin Herbert there at 13.5 rushing yards. We can approach this 2 different ways on PrizePicks, the flex play or the power play. If you go the power play route, you will need all of your picks to hit, but it does increase that payout. Again, for those of you who have not signed up yet, we got 2 promo codes running here for Thursday. You can always take advantage of the promo code MMN and get up to a $100 match deposit. But if you don't want to deposit anything more than $25, take advantage of the Thursday code MMN NFL, and if Mahomes throws for just 1 passing yard in this game, you win $25 right off the bat. But all right, now it's time to dive into this spreadsheet here, breaking down this DraftKings Showdown slate. And we're going to start in the top left-hand corner like we always do with those Vegas odds. You can see the Chiefs are favored to win on the road here, sitting on a money line of -165. They're also 2.5-point favorites, and obviously some shootout potential between these two teams with an over-under right now of 52 points. Also got these Showdown stats listed behind me as well from 2020 in regards to the top 1% of Showdown lineups. Gonna pop on over to this other sheet here. Got 6 different stats from last year. Gonna go through these pretty quickly, but again, in regards to the top 1% of Showdown lineups from last season. Number 1, 92% of all Showdown lineups rostered at least 1 quarterback, and of the top 1% of lineups, 96% had a quarterback rostered as well. Number 2, 33% of all lineups rostered a wide receiver at captain. Of the top 1% of lineups, 31.5% had a wide receiver in the captain spot there too. Number 3, 57% of the top 1% of lineups rostered a captain from the team favored to win. So in this example here, the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 4, run it back. An opposing quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end was included in 88.9% of the winning lineups that rostered a quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end from the other team at captain. Number 5, ignore defense and kickers in the captain spot. Very rarely does that work. Only 1.1% of the time last year in the top 1% of lineups. And number 6 there, do not play more than 2 kickers or defenses in the same lineup. Usually 1 is fine. With all that said, now it's time to dive into some of my favorite DraftKings plays here. Kicking it off with the captains, and as always, I'm going to list out a captain from both sides of this game. Starting on the Chargers side of things here, sure, we could have put in Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, but ultimately I landed on Justin Herbert. He's been balling out over the past 4 weeks, averaging 319 passing yards per game and damn near 3 touchdowns per game. He's hit 3+ touchdowns in 3 of his last 4, and the one game where he didn't get there, he still had 2 passing touchdowns. He scored at or above 24 DraftKings points in all 4 of those games, showing a ceiling of 38 DraftKings points 4 games ago against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So like I said, he's just playing some really good football right now. But so is that Kansas City Chiefs defense, who has allowed their opponents to score less than 14 points in 5 straight games. So Herbert's playing well, the Chiefs defense is playing well. If the Chargers are going to want to have a chance to win this game on Thursday night, Herbert's going to need to keep up those same stats that he's had over the past 4 weeks. And then on the Chiefs side of things here, I like Travis Kelce. Talked about both of these guys as my PrizePicks options for Thursday night. And Kelce, while he has kind of underperformed, shall we say, at times this year, at least due to the expectations that we have for a guy like Travis Kelce, he's still one of, if not the top tight end in the NFL, and he's got a solid matchup here against this Chargers defense. I kind of talked about this during the PrizePicks segment of the video, but they're allowing 15.9 DraftKings points per game to opposing tight ends this year, the 6th most in the NFL. And the last time these two teams played, back in week 3, he saw 11 targets in that game, had 7 receptions, and had 104 receiving yards, racking up 20 DraftKings points. Not crazy to think that he could find the end zone this week as well, and then boom, you're sitting at 25 plus DraftKings points. So the upside is definitely there. I know we haven't seen it very consistently this year from Travis Kelce, but he's also a solid price tag too. Kind of hard to ignore him at 12.9 for a captain position. Now, hopping on down here to my favorite flex plays, obviously going to talk about Patrick Mahomes on a showdown. Both him and Herbert are definitely in play. I always go back to that first stat from last year right above my head. 92% of all showdown lineups rostered at least 1 quarterback, And of the top 1% of Showdown lineups, 96% had a quarterback rostered as well. So it's almost inevitable we'll need to roster one of Herbert or Mahomes come Thursday night. Ultimately depends on how you're building your lineup. If you're going to be stacking up a bunch of guys on the Chiefs side of things, well, probably makes sense to correlate them with Patrick Mahomes. And vice versa. If you're going to be stacking up a bunch of the Chargers players, well, it makes sense to correlate them with Justin Herbert. What we've actually seen have a lot of success this year is a 4-2 stack where you roster 4 players from the team that is ultimately losing or ends up losing and 2 players from the winning side of things. So for example, let's say you think the Chargers are going to win here on Thursday night. So you put in someone like Austin Eckler and Jalen Guyton and then run it back with 4 Kansas City Chiefs players. For example, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and let's go Byron Pringle. I have no idea if that lineup is actually even affordable, just kind of an example there, but that is what we've seen have success this year. Another example would be 4 Chargers and 2 Kansas City Chiefs players. So both quarterbacks do end up coming into play. You'll likely need to roster one on Thursday night because, again, of the top 1% of lineups last year, 96% of them ended up having a quarterback in their Showdown lineup. The next guy I got there then is Tyreek Hill, and honestly, I'm shocked at myself for not putting him in the captain spot for this Showdown slate. Is he a viable captain? 1,000%. 2,000%. He offers the highest ceiling of any other player in this Thursday night game. This guy's already scored 40 and 50 plus DraftKings points already this year. That shows you the ceiling that he offers. He leads the Chiefs in targets this year at 27.5%, air yards at 38%, and leads the team in touchdowns with 8. Now, I do foresee the Chargers kind of focusing in on Tyreek Hill here, trying to shut him down. Part of the reason I like Travis Kelce in the captain spot, but Tyreek Hill is always in play, especially on showdowns like this. I then got Austin Eckler of the Los Angeles Chargers, who's one of the best overall plays here on this showdown slate and put up really solid numbers all year long. He's averaging 12.5 rushing attempts per game, damn near 6 targets per game, and close to 22 DraftKings points per game. This is one player who's involved in all aspects of the Chargers offense, and the beautiful thing about him is he's game script proof. It doesn't matter if the Chargers are playing from behind or playing with a lead. If they're playing with a lead, well, he's just going to get more rushing attempts. If they're playing from behind, he'll just be more involved in the passing game. So again, one of the best overall plays here on this showdown slate because he'll be involved in the Chargers offense all night long. Another guy on the Chargers side of things that's definitely in play, could actually be used in the captain spot, is Keenan Allen, their number 1 wide receiver. I know some people probably think that Mike Williams is their top receiver, who I got listed right below, but Keenan Allen does lead the team in targets this year at 27%, red zone targets at 24%, and in air yards at 31%. So based off of the numbers, Keenan Allen is wide receiver number 1, in my opinion. Sure, Mike Williams has the upside to be put in the captain spot as well. Definitely a guy who can go for 25, 30 plus DraftKings points. I legit think both of these guys are in play. However, Keenan Allen did rest in week 14 due to having COVID, so he should be the healthier of the 2 wide receivers heading into this game. It actually sounds like Mike Williams is questionable heading into Thursday night, battling a heel injury, but I suspect that he will play. He's second on the team in targets, red zone targets, and air yards, right behind Keenan Allen. So both these guys are definitely in play. Both can go for 20, 25, even 30 plus DraftKings points, so you could put them in the captain spot as well. Now, honestly, with this next pick here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I almost put him in the captain spot over Travis Kelce on the Chiefs side of things. He's looked pretty damn good here in his past 3 games ever since returning from injury, scoring 11 plus DraftKings points in all 3 of those games, hitting 11, 15.5, and 19 DraftKings points just last week, where he scored 2 touchdowns. However, I did look at his offensive snap count as well and wasn't really impressed with that. Basically splitting offensive snaps right now with the other running back, Darrell Williams, and I didn't love the idea of putting someone in the captain spot who might only play 50% of the offensive snaps on Thursday night. However, I do think an argument could still be made though, because this Chargers defense has not been good at stopping opposing running backs this year. They actually rank 32nd overall in rush DVOA, the worst in the NFL. So he might only play 50% of the offensive snaps, but this is a really good matchup. for both of the Kansas City Chiefs running backs. And then one other guy I like on the Chargers side of things is Jalen Guyton, wide receiver number 3 for these guys. I think a case can be made for Jared Cook or Donald Parham, both their tight ends. I think both kickers will actually come into play on Thursday night as well. Ultimately didn't highlight them. I kind of put a note here into the right-hand side next to Byron Pringle. I'll touch on that in just a minute, but I do think Jalen Guyton is in play on Thursday night as well. He's combined for 7 receptions, 177 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns over the past 2 games, racking up 17.7 and 18.9 DraftKings points. Not bad at all for a guy priced at $4,800. Last week, Keenan Allen did not play, so he was basically running routes as wide receiver number 2. Obviously a bump down now that Keenan Allen is back, but back-to-back performances close to 20 DraftKings points is hard to ignore for a guy priced below $5K. I then got Darrell Williams there, who I kind of just name-dropped when I was talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Basically splitting offensive snaps with CEH right now ever since he returned from injury. Now, Williams is not going to get nowhere near as many rushing attempts as Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he has seen 3 targets in all 3 games since CEH has returned from injury and has hit double-digit DraftKings points in 2 of those 3 games. Now, there are going to be plenty of games here going forward where Williams barely scores 5 DraftKings points. That's why he's priced at $3,200 here. But he also has the upside to hit double-digit DraftKings points, as we have seen in 2 of his last 3 games. If he can do that for you at $3,200, I think we're fine with that. And then to wrap things up there, I got Byron Pringle of the Kansas City Chiefs. Honestly, I think you'll get a better ROI, return on investment, from one of the kickers. I'm 100% okay rostering either one of those guys. 2 kickers who can definitely hit double-digit DraftKings points, especially in a game like this that could score a lot of points. Obviously, I don't got them on the spreadsheet here, but wanted to mention I'm 100% okay with that. I highlighted Byron Pringle here because, well, basically he's been running routes as wide receiver number 2 for the Kansas City Chiefs over the past handful of weeks, and that's really the question when it comes to the Chiefs, right? We have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill at the top of the pecking order, but who's really wide receiver number 2 or pass catcher number 3? Well, Byron Pringle has been running routes as that guy over the past handful of weeks, but I think realistically we can mix in guys like Mecole Hardman or even Demarcus Robinson. Usually one of those guys has a decent game. Pringle here at $2,600 was the guy for me, but again, largely due to him running routes as wide receiver number 2. All right, everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Like I said, Mayo Media Network has football content coming out throughout the remainder of the regular season, and then we'll have content for those NFL playoffs as well. And again, for those of you who want to sign up for PrizePicks, you can always use that promo code MMN and get up to a $100 match deposit. With all that said, folks, let's enjoy this Thursday night football game. Let's win a little money as well. I'm out of here.